Hello everybody and welcome to a very different video. This is not a gaming video, is it? Hello Leo.
Hello, hi, I'm here.
If you do not know me, and if you do not know my channel, probably some of you watching have just stumbled upon this video, you have no idea who I am. I'm a Swedish person, Leo is an American New Yorkan.
If you hadn't been able to tell from my the way I speak.
And we are watching a video called Visit Sweden, The Don'ts of Sweden by a guy called Wolter. How do you say it? Wolter's World?
Wolter's World, probably, yeah.
Okay, yeah, and Wolter is American, right? So I'm gonna probably be quite critical to the way he thinks. Of course, awesome job, Wolter. I see you have 740,000 subscribers. So if you, by some margin, is watching this, by any odds, I'm not putting any hate towards you. But if you say something that I don't agree with, I'm gonna point it out. And also a quick message to all the Swedish viewers. Om ni inte håller med mina synpunkter i den här videon så är det ju väldigt självklart. Det är inte så att alla vi håller med om exakt samma saker hela tiden. Men jag ska försöka dra en generalisering så att amerikanerna förstår ungefär hur svenskar tänker i den här videon. Eller i alla fall min amerikanska kompisen. Så det här är ju ingen video för att educata liksom heller. There we go.
I can only imagine that was you telling the viewers that I am of simple mind. So.
No, I just told them that not all of us will think alike, but I'm gonna try to generalize how Swedish people think about these things.
Oh, okay. I see what you're doing with this.
Yeah, but are you ready now?
I am indeed.
Let's see what Wolter has to say. Maybe I'll have to turn this up a little bit. Okay.
Let's see. Yeah,
so I will pause probably quite frequently, but let me know if you want to pause too. You can just say pause and I'll pause.
Okay. Well, let's go.
And let's see if you can hear it also.
Hey there, fellow travelers. Mark here with Wolter's World, and today we are here in the islands of Stockholm. And I'll tell you why I'm not telling you the name later, because it's Swedish, and we always have problems with that. And today what we have for you are the don'ts of visiting Sweden. And the first don't I have for you is don't ignore the line culture. Look, in Sweden, they love their lines, and even if you don't see the line there, everybody knows who was first, who was second, who was third. So don't try to jump the line, whether it's at the bus or getting on a ferry or doing whatever. They do follow the line, so do be careful with that because they are pretty strict with that one. So that's the first thing, is don't skip the line.
Dude, can we get more of that? Like, please? Can we get some of that in the US?
This is interesting because this is not a thing in America?
No. People are just kind of assholes.
But what do you mean? Like, how do you not follow a line? Like, this is very true what he's saying here. Everything has a line. You wait your turn, because if you were there first, you were there first. And
right, so the thing is, in theory, that's how it works in the US.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like we have so many people who think they're just entitled to jump the line for whatever reason. It's
wow.
It's like, come on, wait your turn.
Here,
I've been doing it. You can do it too.
Here, like, Swedish people are very reserved in general, very restricted. But if you jump the line, that's the one time we are gonna tell you off. We are gonna be really angry because you don't jump the line here.
I gotta tell you, man, I am here for it. That sounds ideal. Like in the US, a lot of the time people just kind of like it's rare for people to tell people off for jumping the line. We just kind of look at them and think, all right, asshole, if you got to do that, fine.
Really? Holy moly!
We just kind of like assume, like maybe there's a reason.
I'll tell you about.
Also, it's kind of like, do I care enough to?
Oh, you care enough. You care enough. I've been waiting. I was here first. God damn it. I'll tell you about a personal experience, right? So
let's go.
I was in the grocery store with my girlfriend. We were going up to the cashier, and then there was this 70-year-old guy in front of us, something like that, elderly person. And then this guy tries to jump the line in front of me and my girlfriend, in front of him, so he is the next person to go. And this old guy just slams him to the ground. Literally just throws him on the ground. You don't cut the line here.
Oh man, that sounds ideal. I love it.
And the cashier just laughed. Because you don't do that here. And if you don't understand there, you don't belong here. Literally.
I gotta say, man, I love it. And that, you know, it's depressing that is advice that would be needed to be given to Americans in the first place.
Yeah.
But that's where we are.
I just gotta say, Wolter is off to a great start because his first point is one of the most important points here. I wonder if the next one is the distance you have to keep publicly, because those kind of go together. We'll see. Let's continue watching.
Ooh, okay.
Follow who went first and things like that. My second don't for you is if you're lucky enough to get invited to a Swede's home, which you probably will because the people are really nice here, is don't wear your shoes inside their house. It's like the biggest insult when you go to somebody's home. And when you go in, you're going to see they'll have places to put your shoes all the time. So just take your shoes off, put it there. Sometimes they might have slippers for you, sometimes not. It's okay, but just know you're going to take your shoes off. So if you got stinky socks and feet, make sure you wear clean socks and, wash your feet before you go there, okay? Now, my third don't...
Okay.
What kind of... Again, what is that? Like...
What do you mean?
Like, yeah, don't walk around with smelly socks and, like, feet.
Yeah,
like,
but I guess, isn't it an American thing to have shoes indoors?
Well, it varies so much by household, by upbringing, by what area you're in, that it's really, in the U.S., if you want to be polite, which seems to be a forgotten skill in this country these days, it's polite to ask.
Yeah.
You say to your host upon entering their domicile, you say, "Hey, you want me to keep my shoes on? You want me to take them off? What do you want? If you want me to take them off, where do I put them?"
Yeah.
At least that's the way I was raised. I don't know.
I've never.
That's a universal thing.
But. I've never ever come across a Swedish home without where you keep your shoes on. Never. It just isn't a thing here. We have, as he said, we have like a place in every hallway. There's a place. It's like a stand where you put your shoes.
Yeah, like your shoe rack.
Yeah, a shoe rack. There you go.
Yep. And I've got one of those myself, actually. So I can relate to that.
And also, he's being very, very polite in the beginning of this clip, but you most certainly will not be invited to someone's home just like that. That's not something that happens here. You have to get into, like, a Swedish person will not talk to you until they do, and when they do, you are in. That's kind of how it works,
Okay, sure.
So, like, we don't necessarily want to talk to you, but if we talk to you, then we want to,
Right. Yeah, makes sense.
So, no, you won't get invited to random people's houses. I don't know what he's talking about there. I don't know if that was what he meant.
Well, if that was, let's just say if that was what he meant, that would be weird in America too.
Yeah, right. Howdy, partner. You want to come in for supper?
Yeah, right.
Okay, let's continue. This, by the way, this is Fiskekyrka. It's in Gothenburg, and it's a church, but it's called the Fish Church. Very interesting place.
Would that be because it is on the water?
Yeah, Gothenburg is known to be a fishing city. That's their trade, so to speak.
Okay.
Like many Swedish cities are very traditional, obviously, because of our vast history. And they always had a trade, in the Middle Age and before that. And Gothenburg was also always a fishing city. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, let's continue.
For you is probably more related to the tourists that when we come here is, when you come to Sweden, you're going to want to go to the clubs and the bars and things like that because they've got some really fun clubs around the country. But the thing is a lot of times, especially here in Stockholm, you have what's called face control. So my don't for you for this is don't expect to get into a club if you don't dress the part. You do have to dress up when you go out here because there will be people like pointing, okay, you can go in, you can go in, you can go in. Now, this is more of a Stockholm issue, but it does happen in other places around the country. So don't dress like crap when you come here. There's a reason why we all wear H&M stuff. That's a Swedish company because they got some really cool, cheap style here. So go hit one of the thousands of stores in the country so you can look good when you go out. And then you can actually get in when you want to go out.
Okay. So is this a thing in America?
Dude, I'm the last person you want to be asking.
Ah,
I got no idea, man. I don't go
fair
outside
enough.
my house.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
I don't think I've been to a club in my life.
Okay,
Like,
well,
I've been to a couple, like, I guess, like, bar type kind of deals, but it's mostly like, you know, I've been to a couple in like a small town where I grew up.
Yeah.
That, you know, obviously has no standards because they can't if they want to have clientele.
Yeah, right.
Or, you know, otherwise it was just kind of for like, you know, going to see a concert or whatever at that place. And, you know, they don't really have a dress code for a rock concert either.
There is, like, he's actually going light on this. And he's saying, first of all, he's saying it's a Stockholm issue. It definitely is not. This is a prevalent part of any major Swedish city. I grew up in a small city. Here there is no such thing as a... like, if you go to Stockholm or Gothenburg, it doesn't matter if you dress the part in some clubs. You don't get in anyways, because they don't know you. But in my city, you have to dress the part and you get in. But there is literally a club in Stockholm called Rich, and you don't get in there unless you're a known person, you know?
Huh, that's interesting, actually.
And there are things like that. And in Gothenburg, there's a famous singer called Veronica Maggio. She sings about not getting in to a club, even though she had released, you know, some singles by then. Because she wasn't prevalent enough. So it's a big status sort of, at least from my personal experience, there's a big status culture in the most trendy and, you know, upmost clubs.
So I'm sure that's a thing in the US too, right? Like if you go to a club in, say, New York City, it's going to be, or like San Francisco or Las Vegas or something like that. Maybe not Vegas.
Yeah.
But the other ones, you know, there might be some level of exclusivity there.
Yeah.
That you would need to, you know, qualify for to be able to get in.
Yeah.
But in general, in the US, most of the clubs are just kind of, you show up and like, you just go in and start drinking and dancing, like.
But then I feel like I've painted this horrible picture now. Also, there's not like there isn't dive bars, you know. There's not like there isn't places you can just go, no matter which shape you're in. There are like rave clubs. That's a thing here too. Like anybody can enter. That's a thing. But mostly it's long waiting lists. You have to be on a certain list to get into the bar, and then you have to pay a certain amount to even get in there. That's a big thing here. But I don't go to those bars because they don't let me in.
Oh baby, there we go. There it is.
Next time I go out, I'm gonna be like, I have 6,000 subscribers. Excuse me, let me in. And they're gonna be like, go away, bitch boy, go away.
Yeah.
Me and my friends were up in the we were up in a city called Karlstad. It's halfway up the country, like literally. It took us 3 hours to get there. Just because me and a friend, we share an interest in Värmland, which is the region that Karlstad is in.
Okay.
And we just went up to a random bar there because we were like, yeah, let's go to a bar. And we just couldn't get in. They were like, no way. Are you even from here? And we're like, no. We're from Gothenburg. You know, we're from close to Gothenburg. And they're like, oh, yeah, your kind is not welcome here. And then we got turned away.
You're like, okay, go away, bye.
yeah, literally. So,
man, that's wild.
Anyways, let's continue with Wolter's video. So far, Wolter is giving good tips here.
Nice.
My fourth don't for you is don't worry too much about your safety when you come to Sweden. Yeah, I know there's a lot of stuff in the news about things going on here, but the thing is Sweden is very safe. And just like anywhere you go, if you go to the parts you're supposed to go to and don't go to the parts you're not supposed to go to, you're gonna be okay. And that's one of the things is we have our kids here and we let them kind of run around and have a good time because Sweden is really safe. So don't worry about your safety too much. But just like anywhere, you want to pay attention. I mean, there's even pickpocket signs in the airport when you're going through the passport check, okay? So just a heads up on that, but you don't have to worry too much about the safety. Another don't I have...
Okay. I disagree with Wolter completely here. You don't at all need to worry about the safety. He's like, if you don't go to the areas you're not supposed to, there are no such areas in Sweden.
Well, so that means he's not technically wrong.
Yeah, right. But what he's talking about is like, oh, there are like big ghettos in Sweden. Like, don't get me wrong, there are segregated areas where there is gang violence, but it's not like, you know, it's not like you're walking through Detroit, you know. You're not gonna get shot because you don't belong, you know. There's no such thing. Like, it's completely safe. Even if you go into Rinkeby, which is like a dodgy part of Stockholm, or people call it dodgy, it's not even that dodgy. But even if you go there, people are never going to harm you for being there, you know? Especially not if you're not from here, you know?
Okay.
So what he's talking rubbish there, that there are areas that you should be scared of. There's no such thing, especially if you're a tourist. You don't have to raise an eyebrow.
Well, sure, that's always, like, that may be true, right? But as a tourist, you should always be a little bit, you know,
yeah, of course,
because you don't know the area, you know?
Yeah, of course. You, yeah, I guess there are bad people everywhere, but there is rare to find a place more reserved than Sweden. So the daylight robberies is not really a thing here. Like, at least it's not a prevalent thing, you know. So
I think the way I would put it is, you know, I would be far more on edge, say, walking through, you know, New York City or like Las Vegas or some you know, a large U.S. city like that.
Yeah, especially
then I would be walking through a large European city.
Especially NYC, right, with the Bloods.
Well, I don't know. You know, like, and NYC definitely has like areas you don't really want to go. There are really some not so good areas in just about every U.S. city that I know of.
Yeah. Okay.
So, you know, if that's different in Sweden, hey, good, you know, that's excellent. I'm not knocking that in any way. But even in the US cities, even in a city where, you know, sure, it has bad areas, but even in one of the not bad areas, I'm still gonna, you know, have my street smarts on. I'm not gonna just
I see.
check out and stop caring. You know,
I guess it's kind of weird for me because, you know, I'm quite a big guy. I'm very tall. So I've never had to worry ever. I've never felt worry. I could see if you are maybe an old person, if you're a woman in general, how you could feel discomfort, you know? It's just not something I personally have experienced, and certainly not in Sweden.
Right. Okay.
Anyways, we're going on a tangent here. Let's just continue, Wolter. Wolter is doing a good job still. He's looking out for his fellow tourists. It's never bad to tell people to be alert. I agree with you on that.
This is my first impression of Wolter. He seems like a wholesome dude.
Yeah, like Wolter seems like a really nice dude, actually. I was going into this thinking I'm gonna disagree with him, but he's a great dude.
Don't forget to bring a credit card with a PIN number, okay? Because they don't always take cash here, which is kind of a pain in the butt, but just one thing you should know. Also, kind of a don't with that one is don't bring euros. They use the Swedish crown here, so you're going to use the Swedish krona when you do pay, but you will most likely use credit card instead of cash. So don't take out a bunch of money from the ATM when you come here because you're going to be using your credit card most of the time. And I mentioned...
Okay. So he's also showing the old money here. This is the old money. This is not how our money looks anymore.
Okay, well, this is a video from 2017, so...
Yeah, that's right before the change, actually.
Okay.
But even more so now. Not many places take cash. Especially because of Corona now.
Yeah, right.
But even before, there is exactly like he says. You can't expect every place to take cash. We have the right. A business has the right not to take cash.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of people are angry about this in Sweden. This is a very touchy subject right now, that we are kind of phasing out cash as much as we can. A lot of conservative and patriotic people say it's a necessary thing, and a lot of liberal and more leftist people say that it's a thing of the past. And I'm somewhere in the middle. I like the idea of cash, trading something for something, instead of just, handing your card. But also the convenience is so much more just beeping your card. I don't know if you have... Yeah, of course you do in America. Just put your card towards the sensor and it pays, right?
Some cards at some stores.
Okay.
It's not... It's not always... Like, it's more common... Like, if you're going to do, like, the contactless payment, it's more common to use, like, a phone app, like Apple Pay or Android Pay or Samsung Pay, something like that.
Here, every card can do that everywhere.
So the U.S. is, and this is a huge tangent, so I'm not going to go off on it.
Okay.
But the U.S. is actually very stunted in terms of, like, the rollout of credit card features like that.
Okay.
Like, as compared to the rest of the world.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing to keep in mind.
That's contributing.
I would just say, I think Wolter probably spot on here.
Yeah.
I would imagine that would be spot on, just due to the way the world has gone in the last 20 years. And I would just say, in addition to his don't, I would say, do tell your bank that you're going to be traveling to Europe.
Yeah.
Because if you get your card frozen in a foreign country, that seems like it would really suck.
And you don't have an Android fanatic to help you out.
That's right.
You're screwed. Especially in Sweden, no one wants to talk to you.
That's right.
Let's continue.
That because our next don't expect a cheap vacation in Sweden. Unless you're coming from Norway. If you're coming from Norway, this place is cheap. But if you're coming from anywhere else, look, Sweden is not a cheap place to go. Drinking, eating, hotels, things like that throughout the country, it is really pricey. So make sure you prepare your pocketbook for when you come here. And that's why when I tell a lot of people, it's like, look, you can do the Scandinavian tour and things like that, but also throw in the Baltics. Go over to Tallinn and Riga and Lithuania and stuff like that. And you can like kind of balance out the money you're going to spend, because this is not a cheap place to come. Now, it's
Yeah. It's true. It's very much more expensive than America, and America is seen as a very expensive country for some.
Yeah. Well, yeah. The thing is, right? I'm sure that Sweden, in comparison to other countries, can be more expensive, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, and like I've traveled a fair amount.
Yeah.
And what I've learned is that you can go anywhere cheaply if you are determined to do it.
Of course you can. Like if you come here and you like rent an Airbnb and you buy groceries from Lidl, of course it's cheap.
Yeah, like if you're gonna go out and go to a restaurant every night, like
that'll get expensive
for every meal. That's gonna kill you, you know.
Or
if you go to the grocery store, you buy like some yogurt, some oats, some
right.
You buy sandwich stuff to make for lunch.
That's fine.
It's easy.
I mean, the thing that shocks most foreigners, I think, is when you go to the bars, particularly. Like in a bar, a glass of beer is easily $10 to $15, and a shot of vodka, just one shot, is like $25-$30.
Yeah, but you can go buy a whole bottle for that, can't you?
Of course you can. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But then also, he did mention here, do you see this? You can only buy hard alcohol at Systembolaget. And he has we hate when you do this. In America, it's very when there's two words in America, they are always separate. You know, that's I have this problem when I write as well and a lot. I write them in one word, right? Because here in Sweden, you have something called särskrivning or separate writing, and that's the most ugly thing you can do. So this, because it's two words that are meant to go together, you would write this as one word, Systembolaget, and not Systembolaget. Yeah, and basically this is a store. It is open it's from like 11 to 6 it's open, and that's the only time you can go and buy beer, and on Sunday it's barely open at all, and on Saturday it closes at 3, I think.
And it's like government regulated liquor store, right?
Yes.
Yep. A lot of U.S. states have their own systems for that. It's all state by state in the U.S., but you know, it's not a foreign concept. At least
hard liquor is monopolized because we almost drank ourselves to death in the I think it was early 1900s. One out of 2.5 people were alcoholics when you looked at the adult age group.
See, I thought you were exaggerating, but that's not a good stat.
No. Like, people didn't show up to work. Our entire society crashed.
Right.
So they had to do something about it, and that's when they established Systembolaget. And then people couldn't just go anywhere and buy anytime, anywhere and buy liquor. So it definitely helped. But it also shot up the alcohol prices. So like a liter of vodka is like $30 now.
Yeah, well, is that for a liter of bottom shelf stuff, or like a liter of like, you know, halfway drinkable stuff?
Absolute. You know, you have that in.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a little high, but I can live with it.
Yeah, that's Swedish. You know that, right?
Absolute. Yeah, I didn't actually.
Oh, now you do.
I'm not really a vodka drinker myself, so.
Oh, okay, that's my vice.
I'm more a tequila guy, which. I imagine it's probably a bit tough to get of anything of decent quality in Sweden, you know.
I just don't like tequila. Salt and lemon, I don't know. It barely masks the taste, dude. I'm not a fan of that stuff, and it definitely I can't blend that. I can't make a drink out of that. It just turns out horrible every time.
Huh.
Yeah. Anyways, tangent again. Let's continue with Wolter.
Just like that.
Yes,
but also throw in the Baltics. Go over to Tallinn and Riga and Lithuania. Place to come. Now, my seventh don't for you is don't expect the Swedish food to wow you. Look, new Scandinavian cuisine is actually really good. The new stuff out there has got influence and fusion from all over. But the traditional Swedish foods, you know, like the herring and the 19 versions of herring and things like that. And there's other things out there. Probably not. There's probably a reason why you don't see so many Swedish restaurants around the world. Now, the new Scandinavian, the restaurants they have here has actually good food. But traditional Swedish food is probably not what you're going to be looking for to enjoy a lot. There are some good stuff, like their cinnamon rolls. Oh my God, they're fantastic. But just know, when you're going to be going out to eat here, go try new Scandinavian cuisine or other things here. So you have a lot of different international flavors. You'll have that. That's good. But the traditional local stuff is, well, like I said, check how many Swedish restaurants in your hometown. Now, my eighth don't.
Oh, Jesus. I'm getting angry about this. Okay, Wolter, you've just sowed your last seed.
No.
No.
Oh, no.
But, like, if you come to a country as rich in culture as Sweden, and you don't take the time to appreciate the cultural foods, you are doing traveling wrong, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, so you got like the fish thing. What's the fish thing? The surströmming, right?
Ah, yeah. You don't need to try surströmming.
I ain't touching that.
No, of course not.
I can say as an American that he's kind of full of BS on this one too, because having been to Europe a few times, across Europe, Sweden doesn't matter. You know, Sweden's part of Europe.
Yeah.
The food standards in Europe are higher than in the U.S. the
Okay.
ingredients that you get in Europe anywhere are just straight up going to be a little bit better than they are in the US. So you can eat really well for even honestly really cheap even in basic just about anywhere in Europe.
I just think there are just so many, like he showed pictures of, what did he show pictures of, like meatballs, and he showed pictures of salmon and potato mash. Like, there are so many more dishes that he just neglected and didn't show, or
Dude,
probably didn't try because he didn't like the first two dishes of traditional food he tried,
I mean, I'm gonna be honest though. The salmon with the potatoes, they look good.
They are all like
I'm interested.
traditional Swedish meatballs are, and the salmon is really good too here. I don't know what he's complaining about. Maybe it's too bland for him. That could be a thing, because I do agree it's quite bland. There's not much flavor in traditional Swedish food regularly. It's much more. We play more with saltiness than what we do with anything else, I think.
Got it. So there's something to be said for that, though. Like if you're, I will say, if you're gonna do that, you have to use really high quality ingredients and let the ingredients speak for themselves.
Yeah, of course, that's what we try to do. Like, always. Also, if you go back, if you really want to get into the nitty gritty, I'll just go quickly. Like, our traditional cuisine is from when we were a old country of knights and farmers, right? And most of the traditional cuisine you see, like the meatballs and the mashed potatoes, that's what the farmers usually ate, right? And then you had the knightlyhood that ate, like spit roasts and things like this. So most of the traditional food is the food of the people, and they were usually very poor, so therefore you don't have extravagant meals as the traditional Swedish meals.
Right. That's the thing, though. Like, I like that,
Yeah.
I want a hearty home food kind of feel.
Right?
Yeah. A lot of people are like, oh my God, look at you got the French food. It's so good. Like, great. Okay. I'll smash a coq au vin or whatever. I don't care.
Yeah.
That sounds great. But at the same time, I keep coming back to like German food, because it's not fancy. It's not putting on airs. It's just kind of there. There's the food that the people eat.
There's there's a collective word for all traditional Swedish food, and it's called husmanskost, which basically means the food of the man of the house.
Okay.
Is what it means. And it means, like, it could be roughly translated to the food of the commoner, if you understand.
Right.
Because
that makes sense. That's good.
It's not the food of the man of the castle, it's the food of the man of the house, husmanskost. So it's hus, which is house, and then man, which is man, and then kost, which is diet.
Okay.
So, yeah. Anyways, let's continue with Wolter. Still, I mean, if he doesn't like it, sure, but don't preach to other people not to try the traditional stuff and to try the new age stuff instead. I don't agree with that at all.
Yeah, and I think that's more based on restaurants too, which seems to be like, he doesn't seem like he has been.
I think it's
going out to like grocery stores and buying food that way.
No, so. I think it's mostly based on his personal prerogative, honestly. But still, he's a great guy, honestly. I'm not gonna say anything bad about him. If he didn't like the food, he didn't like the food. But I wish he wouldn't have put it like that.
Okay, I think that's fair.
Yeah, nothing against you, Wolter. You're still doing great.
For you is, don't worry if you don't understand anything in Swedish. You'll see words and go, like this over here says fjäder hommaniskrug.
This is Fjäderholmarnas krog.
Okay.
And fjäder means feather. And then holm means, like half island, or like, half island. Could you to say it like that? Like, yeah.
I mean, it's a little awkward, but like, kinda, yeah.
And then holmarna means like the half islands. And then
Okay.
and then krug means like food bar.
Okay.
So it's the Feather Half Island food bar.
Got it.
I have no idea
All
what the
right,
hell that
that's
says. And you'll have that a lot of times in Swedish, like, dude, I have no idea. But it's okay. Throughout Sweden, people speak English, German.
Hey, did you want to see a Swedish laugh? Try saying a Swedish word. When he tried to pronounce that, I laughed.
Yeah.
It's very
I heard
true.
He seems like he gets it.
Yeah. All right, let's
I
continue.
have all kinds of languages people speak here because the Swedes are really good and they have really, really good accents. I mean, it's one of the places where you go, they speak the language and you're like, are you a tourist as well? Oh, no, I'm Swedish. I had English in school. Their English is fantastic, so don't worry about that. But I will say a little extra don't on there is don't do your Swedish, your Swedish chef impression because a lot of people go, oh, yeah, Swedish. You're flirty, 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 flirty. Look, the Swedes won't get that upset. They might laugh at you, but it's more like the kind of thing. So maybe don't do the Swedish chef when you are here.
Yeah, I never understood the Swedish chef because it doesn't sound Swedish at all. It doesn't sound Swedish. I don't get what was the inspiration. I don't think they even thought when they made him.
I mean, you know what? That actually sounds like it probably was the case.
Yeah. And also, like, yeah, Swedish people are proficient in English most of the time, but you can't just expect any old Swede to be able to talk fluently with you either.
Right, but I have a feeling that at the same time, you can expect to be able to at least, like, survive.
Yes, you can get coherent sentences from pretty much everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You just... It's variance, but on average, we are much better at speaking a second language than the US is, right? So
Yep, very much so, yeah.
And everyone's second language is English,
Yeah.
So
yeah, because the Americans are too dumb to learn other ones.
Anyways, let's continue. That's a good point, Wolter. Don't expect to know how to, like, you can't even draw dots between Swedish and English words. Like, very few words make sense. Sure, we have borrowed some words from English, and the English have borrowed some words from the French that we have also borrowed from the French. Like, that sort of thing happens, but it's not as likely as you might think, right? That's what I'm trying to say. Let's continue.
Now, my night don't for you is don't worry about the Swedish silence. Look, when you're on, like, you're taking the subway here in Stockholm, or you're taking buses throughout the country, you're taking the trains, you'll notice it's very quiet. Like, you hear the birds here going. The Swedes are very reserved and quiet, except when they're drinking. Then they just start singing all kinds of crazy songs. But in general, it's really kind of quiet. And if you're talking and you're hanging out with Swedes and there's not a lot of people talking, don't be upset by it. That's a normal kind of thing, okay? So don't worry about the Swedish silence, all right? I guess another little don't is if one of your...
Okay, let's just go over this quickly.
I wish the Americans could do that.
Being loud here is most definitely frowned upon. If you are in a public area with a lot of people and someone is being particularly loud, people will be angry at that person. Even though it's in a public area. And that's just a part of our culture here. We are reserved. And also, as he said, if you're in a conversation, or if you are in, like, if you're sitting and having a meal with Swedes, and there is just nothing said in 5 minutes, that's a normal thing.
See, that's good. Like, in the U.S., everyone thinks, so, if it's silent, you have to fill the silence. You got to start talking. Like, no, shut up.
There's a good saying, especially for dinners in Sweden. It's called "Låt maten tysta mun," which means let the food silence your mouth. You don't necessarily need to speak while you're eating. You can speak afterwards, or not speak at all. And
when in the U.S., we have a kind of similar, I guess, a similar sentiment in a way. Like, where if nobody's talking at the dinner table, someone will sometimes say, "Oh, I guess the food's really good tonight," or whatever.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
But the difference is the intent.
Yeah.
Because it's usually more intended as like why is no one talking? What the hell? This is weird. Say something, please.
If a Swede is talking like saying like, oh yeah, the weather is great, or like, oh wow, this food is great, then you can almost be certain they are feeling awkward. If they are saying nothing, they are very comfortable with you because they know that they can be quiet. And if I am blurting to you, like every time I join a voice call with you, I'm always talking to you, right?
Yeah.
Then you know they are really comfortable with you.
Okay.
Because then I have things that I want to share and I'm actually sharing them, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not just speaking nonsense. That's the difference.
Yeah. Well, yeah, sometimes you're speaking nonsense.
Yeah. But like generally, pointless conversation seems like it's a thing in America. Like it's just sharing things to fill the silence. That's not a thing here. That's awkward. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. But Wolter is spot on. If someone is completely silenced, you should feel more honored than weird or angry, you know? Because that means they respect you.
I think the Swedes are spot on with that. Because, like, I don't want to talk to people. I don't want people to talk to me unless they, like, actually care, you know?
Yeah. That's the sentiment. Anyways, let's continue. Good point, Wolter. That's a good don't. That's something that is very, very good for tourists to know when they come here.
Your Swedish friend says, oh, we're going to have a special dish from Sweden. And they're going to say, oh, we're going to have surströmming. Look, that is fermented Baltic herring, possibly the most stinkiest thing you can actually eat. And oh my God, so don't get tricked by your Swedish friends, because they do like to do that sometimes.
No, they don't. What are you talking about, Wolter? Like, now let's get the facts straight here. The only time you're eating surströmming is when you are in rural northern Sweden. My mom used to have a boyfriend from rural northern Sweden, so I went up there for Christmas and I ate surströmming. If you are from Stockholm, if you are from Gothenburg, you don't eat surströmming. That's not a thing. So I don't get what he's going at here. He's obviously trying to make a joke, which is fine. I don't know why I'm so mean to the guy, but like, yeah, that's not gonna happen. No one is gonna trick you into eating surströmming. And believe me, if you are within 100 meters radius, like a 200-yard radius of surströmming, you will know, because it smells up the entire place, even if it's outside. It's horrible. Horrible. I remember when I was up in the north there, when I was gonna try it, I had my bike, and we were eating in like a barn. So I stood with my bike from the barn, and then I counted the seconds while pedaling as hard as I could, and it took me around 15 seconds before I could no longer smell.
Oh God.
Like it's a truly horrible smell that travels so well in the wind. Anyways, but the fish itself the fish itself tastes like you are eating slimy table salt, basically. So it's not too bad, because I do like salt, but the smell is something else, dude. It's purging.
I can say that I've never experienced it, and I can also say that I really don't want to.
Yeah, you won't if you come here. I don't think if I opened, they would probably call the police if I opened a can of surströmming in my city. Honestly, I'm not even making that up. And you know, you can't open it indoors because it gets into the what do you call what you have on the walls?
Like the drywall, or
no, like when,
wallpaper.
Yeah, the wallpaper. It gets into the wallpaper and stinks up through the wallpaper until you exchange it. Not to speak of the carpets if you have. Oh Jesus. Anyways,
no.
So don't open one of those cans inside. I saw an American who wanted to try surströmming opened it in his house. I just felt so sad in the moment. I knew what was going to happen, and then he had to go through this. He had to pay like $20,000 to exchange his, his floor carpet. Jesus.
So good.
Because the entire house's floor carpet was ruined. You basically can't wash it out. You have to exchange it. Anyways, continuing.
And if you do have that, don't eat it in your house. Eat it outside. And
yeah, good job. Thanks, Wolter.
let the neighbors know because it is insanely disgustingly smelling, but actually doesn't taste that bad. But the smell.
Oh, so he tried it. Wow, good on you, Wolter.
All right.
Did he try that in Stockholm?
Maybe.
Oh wow, I didn't know that was a thing. I literally did not know that was a thing.
I mean, I'm sure you're able to get it throughout the country, right? It's just not common
Yeah.
for the north.
The tradition is from the north. I think it's originally from the Sami culture, which is like that's the people who have reindeers and live like rural, like I told you about, like the Amish Swedish people.
Okay. Yeah.
I think it's from there originally, so I didn't think it was something that you could, you know, that he could find someone who was willing to buy and open and consume surströmming with him. That's the thing I was surprised about. But yeah, you can get it anywhere. I'll have to order it. I can't get it in the store, but
that's probably for the best.
Anyways, let's continue.
Well, it's just not good. Now, my 11th don't for you is don't gawk, okay? Look, I'm not going to lie to you. The people in Sweden are really good looking. The guys and the girls are gorgeous. You look around going, my God, they look so good. My God, they're so good looking. And they dress really well. And you're saying, wait, wouldn't they all get in the clubs because they want to? Look, just don't gawk too much when you are here because they are quite good looking when you are here. A couple other little things you might want to realize is...
Okay, so... I don't know. I think Wolter is a pretty decent looking guy. I don't think Wolter looks ugly.
Yeah.
And I live in Sweden, you know?
Yeah.
So
no, he's good. Average.
I think it's a fabled standard he's building up here, you know? Because I don't think the difference is that big. Because I've seen how the average American looks, and I've seen how the average Swede looks. And I don't think the difference is as incredible as he says when it comes to us guys, right? When it comes to the women, however, that's a completely different story. You've been on Swedish Tinder. You've seen, like, there's not many women here who look awful, honestly. And I don't think I've ever seen a woman who looks awful in general. But like, like that's not just a thing. It's just, but when he says the men and the women because he wants to be inclusive, I think. But the difference in the men is not really prevalent. I don't think, at least.
Okay, I think the bigger takeaway here is that don't stare is just kind of like good advice anytime you're anywhere, really, but especially anywhere you're in a foreign place, right?
Also, something I would like to add here is if you're talking to someone Swedish, right? Don't actively look for that eye contact, because I think a majority of Swedish people don't want to look you in the eyes while they're talking to you. So don't look for the eye contact because that will just make them feel awkward.
That's the kind of advice we need.
Especially if you are like just coming up to them and asking them for directions and they are like fumbling their English and then you're looking at them. Oh, Jesus. Like... My girlfriend in particular, she can't do with that stuff. I think she would just walk away. I am a guy who actively wants to look you in the eyes, but I realize that not everybody wants to do that. But like if you come up and ask me directions, I will look at you, you know? But not everyone is like that, and I think a majority of people would rather look at the ground or look around you or behind you. So that's something you could definitely expect if you're planning to travel to Sweden, anybody watching.
That's useful, see, because like in the U.S. a lot of the time, eye contact is taken as a sign of being engaged in the conversation.
Respect,
So,
for sure, and that is true also if you are familiar with the person, right? But I'm talking here if you're walking up to someone on the street, catching them off guard.
Right,
That's where you don't look for the eye contact. If you're talking to a friend, of course they're gonna look at you. Moving on.
Don't think the Swedish Fish candy we have in the U.S. and other places, they don't have Swedish Fish here. You're not going to buy...
Yeah, we do. We do have Swedish Fish.
Okay, but do you like them?
And they are not called Swedish Fish here, of course.
Right.
And you want to know what they're called?
I do.
They're called fish.
Oh, wow.
Because of course they are. Like, they're fish.
Oh,
you know, they're not Swedish fish. They're just fish here. So they look like Swedish fish. They're a little bit more gummy than your Swedish fish that you have in your packages. And they are just called fish. And they are the same fruity flavor candy. So I don't know what he's on about, but you cannot find them in a bag like this. So maybe that's his problem.
Okay.
In Sweden, we have candy you can just grab out of like little boxes. Like there are a bunch of boxes and you just put them into a bag.
Like the bulk boxes. We have that in a lot of stores in the U.S. too, but not like at a convenience store or something. It would be obviously all in bags, but.
Oh, we have that in every convenience store. There's no convenience store that does not have lösgodis, is what we call it. We call it loose candy.
Got it.
So you get a scoop, and then you have like a big shelf of a bunch of candy, and then you take it out.
Nope.
And that's where you get the fish.
Okay.
So they are a thing. They are a thing, and I think that's what the Swedish fish are based upon.
Okay.
Let's continue.
Swedish Fish in a bag. What you're going to do is you're going to go to a candy store. In the candy store, you'll get a scooper, and then you scoop up things that look like the Swedish Fish.
Oh! Sorry, Wolter.
So you cut him off.
Sorry, my friend. Yeah, they look exactly like this, but instead of Swedish, it says fisk. It says fish on them.
To put in a bag, and you do it that way. So
yeah, here you go. This is how it looks.
Yep. Yeah.
Don't go in looking for the bags of it, like pre-packaged. You're going to go to a candy store, dig it out, and put it into a bag for you.
Wow, Wolter is... He has been spending some time in Sweden, I can tell.
Dude, that's good. I like that.
Wow, he's coming with the research. Wow. When you know, because I was skimming through the video before we decided to sit down and watch it. And I was just going to all those places where I have been disagreeing with him. But the majority of this video has been me agreeing with him. So
you missed all the good stuff.
Yeah, and I'm happy that he has so much of the good stuff.
I like that.
Good video, Wolter, so far. Good video, man.
Also, don't call Ikea Ikea, okay? Ikea in the U.S. is from here, and it's nowhere near as popular here as it is in the U.S. Like in the U.S., you say, "Oh, I went to Ikea," and everyone's like, "Oh, you got that Ikea? Oh my God!" And here it's like, "Oh yeah, I went to Ikea and I got it." It's like another place to go shopping, all right? So don't be thinking it's a magnificent, a wonderful thing as we find in the U.S. as they might not find it the same way here.
Yeah. I don't agree with him. Like say Ikea. Say Ikea. That's how you say it. Like
Ikea?
If I say that's how you say it. Ikea, right? How do you say it?
All right. Ikea?
Yeah. And that's how I say it when I'm saying it in English also. So
okay.
And how he said it, Ikea, that's how we say it in Swedish. But like we understand that you're English, and like if I'm talking to an American or an English person, I would say Ikea. So he's been talking to the wrong Swedish people if they get offended by something as childish as that. And also Ikea, that's totally true. Ikea is not a big thing here because there's one in literally every city almost. If you're not having a very small city.
Yeah, it's like I don't know, like. You know, a Swede comes to the U.S. and like is excited to go to Walgreens or something.
I'm so excited to go to Walmart, dude. Oh Jesus, it's so cool. It's like every store in one store. That's so cool to me.
Jesus.
We have a thing like that called Ullared, but that's one store. You know, in the entirety of Sweden. That's just a one store, like one physical store.
Okay.
Not a chain. It's one store, right? So to have a Walmart everywhere, that's so cool.
Right. Yeah. Walmart is. Yep.
Did you know?
I got some thoughts on Walmart.
Did you know Walgreens, eller Wallgrens, is actually a Swedish American store?
Are they really?
It's a Swedish American who made that store when he moved to America.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Wallgren is a very, very common Swedish surname.
Huh.
And
Cool.
that I found out yesterday also. And I hope I'm right on this. Are you Googling?
I am indeed Googling.
Do it. So that I'm not wrong on that. And then people...
Wikipedia says it is an American company.
Yeah, but the guy who made it is an American citizen, but he has Swedish heritage, I believe.
Yeah.
Is there any info on that? Like, of course the company is American. It's founded in America by an American. But
right.
But he has Swedish heritage.
Yeah, I'm looking. Yeah, the founder was the son of Swedish immigrants.
Yeah, so. There you go.
There it is.
Very cool. Interesting. So that's why it's Wallgreens and Wallgren, which is very... But Wallgreen means like a wall and green, right? But Wallgren, gren means like, you know, a branch on a tree.
Mm-hmm.
And wall means like a not a wall, but a natural wall made by nature.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Interesting. Yeah, I think so.
So it's like
it'd be like a rock wall or like a cliff side or something.
No. Like a hill, a very steep hill.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Like a very, very steep hill and small hill. So it's basically hill branch. It is what it means.
Okay.
Anyways, let's continue.
Oh, and I guess I have one other don't I have for you for Sweden. If you're gonna be sailing in the islands and stuff like that, don't go on a boat that's called Broken, because yes, it was quite prophetic that it broke down while we were going through the archipelagos. So it was a little bit scary, but it worked out okay. We got towed and had some fun and melted through some things, but it was good. But just don't take a boat called Broken. Just FYI. Anyway, I hope this helps you enjoy more of Sweden. It is a really cool place. I highly recommend it. We have all kinds of videos on visiting Sweden. 10 things that'll shock you about Sweden, 5 things you love and hate, what you should eat when you're here, because yes, there are some things you should eat. I know I made fun of the surströmming, but in the food in general, but there are some really cool things you should try. Anyway, if you want to learn more, check us out on our website at woltersworld.com. We're also on Twitter.
Okay, so that's it.
Okay.
Good job, Wolter. Good job. And there's Max. There's Max. Yeah, I've told you all about Max.
Burger time. Let's go.
And now I don't know if I've told you this, but I'm no longer pescatarian. I no longer eat fish either.
Okay.
I've gone full veggie. So Max is the savior, you know, because their vegetarian stuff is their vegan stuff even is so crazy good.
It's definitely something I would want to try, honestly.
Yeah, you will love it. Like, because my friend, he loves meat. He loves meat. And I was recently, I was like, can't you just try the Beyond Meat Max Burger or whatever? And he was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. And he was like, there's no difference, dude. And I was like, yeah. And I haven't eaten meat for, what is it now, like 5-6 years? So I don't frankly remember how a burger would taste, right?
Right.
But it's actually pretty spot on. He says you can tell from the consistency that it isn't necessarily meat, but they've really got the taste.
Yeah.
So
that's pretty good.
Anyways, after watching Wolter's World Visit Sweden, the Don'ts of Sweden, have you learned anything? And are you happy you watched it?
I think it was a good video. I definitely think that it was good to have the perspectives of a Swede.
Yeah.
At the same time, to kind of, fact check some of the stuff. But I think overall, especially based on the feedback that you've given, good job, Wolter.
Yeah, really good job, Wolter. Honestly, I don't think many foreign people could capture Sweden as well as he did. So I'm genuinely, if I could give you a virtual award, which I can, here you go, Wolter. Woo! There you go. That's your award. It says here on my fictional award, it says to Wolter's World for somewhat believably portraying the Swedish culture, even though not being in Sweden for very long, from Android Fanatic. Congratulations.
That's not at all a long-winded award in any way.
No. It's like one of these plaques, and the plaque is bigger than the actual trophy. You know?
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, well, thank you guys so much for watching. And if this was your first video you watched from me, please leave a comment down below in the comment section. I will probably make another video like this with Leo if this doesn't totally flop. If it does, then I won't. But
okay. I see how it is. My fate hangs in the balance.
But if you look at this video and you see that it has like, oh, this has over 1,000, that's nothing, but that's enough to make me keep going at least. So if you see it has over 1,000 views, then subscribe to the channel because I will be making more. And until next time, stay safe, have a good one, take care of one another, and goodbye.